the impact of conflict in the workplace disrupts the effectiveness of an employee and also slow down the achievement of an organization towards goal when the conflict does not manage properly. How we can handle the conflicts determine whether it is productive or devastating. So conflict management is a basic ongoing skill or job or duty for a leader to create positive opportunities and also the advancement towards a common goal for an organization. This episode is all about conflict management. Vanakkam, welcome to Dr. Jiko Podcast, Season 3, Leadership Tricks. I am your host, Dr. Raji Arabi. This episode, we're having an young guest who is going to talk more about this conflict management. She is an IT entrepreneur, software engineer, a poet, an academic author. You can tell more about her. And through her research studies, through her poems, through her writings, she wants to help people to tap their true purpose. It's time to welcome our guest, Ms. Chitra Lele from UK. Hi, Chitra, welcome.
Hello, greetings. How are you doing? Thank you so much for this warm welcome and this wonderful introduction. I still have a long way to go. And I'm truly humbled and honored to be a part of your podcast and initiative. You're doing some real great work. And I also want to thank our combined networks for tuning in. And I'm sure we'll have a great conversation on conflict management, which is a very important topic, but somehow it's missing, in the corporate landscape. It's not like emphasized so much upon as compared to other aspects. But today we'll definitely open up some insights and views on this important topic for our combined networks.
Yes, but prior to that, please tell us a few words about yourself.
Right, you've already told everything about me in such a beautiful manner. But yes, as a professional, I'm a software engineer, and I'm also pursuing my higher studies in computer science. And this is a limited aspect of my personality, whereas the limitless inner aspect of my personality is that of a social worker, peace ambassador, peace poet, and an academic author. So the first aspect keeps my brains and gray cells active, whereas what keeps my inner spark active or ignited is my passion for writing academic books and my purpose, which revolves around world peace and social transformation. So all these aspects are actually interrelated, because my work sort of reflects all aspects at any point in time. They're not like separate compartments, and they are an integrated part of my DNA. And this is what keeps me going day in and day out. That's me in a nutshell.
It's an integral part of your DNA. Yeah, of course, I can feel that. I perceive that through your post in the LinkedIn. Yes. Now moving to this conflict management. In your view, how this conflict management is an essential skill for a leader?
That's a very, very pertinent question. See, sister, like all kinds of soft skills or social skills, conflict management is also an important skill. And as you rightly mentioned, it's an ongoing process. It's not like a one-time activity. So like, putting one's head in the sand and hoping that the storm of conflicts will subside or will go away automatically won't work in the corporate domain or in any other sphere of life. So addressing this conflict or this situation where a lot of stakeholders are involved in a clash is very important in a time. And, it's addressing it in a timely manner with a strategy is very important. And this is what defines a good leader, effective leader from a non-effective or non-performing leader. And setting boundaries is another important aspect or a sub skill that a leader needs to have, or it's a skill that a leader develops, all thanks to conflict management. Because when you set boundaries, what you're doing is you're having great team dynamics in place. You're allowing each stakeholder his or her space for communication, for contribution, for growth. And what also makes conflict management as an important skill is when a leader or a manager looks at his team dynamics, he will understand that when he learns to develop his conflict management skills, he also develops certain other EI or EQ skills like empathy or tolerance. And this goes for the team members as well, because then you start looking at each other as a valuable resource and not as an opposing party. So that is why conflict management as a skill or as a personality trait is very important for a leader to not only grow in his or her position or role, but also to help his team members to grow in the right direction and in a meaningful manner.
Yes, absolutely. Starting with strategy, you were entered into an emotional intelligence also. Yes, that's great. How do you deal with these conflicts?
Okay. Now, once we have identified what kind of a conflict we are facing, maybe it's a team member to a team member one, or maybe it's within team members, or a team manager or team leader to a team member. What happens is that you have to understand that proper training and support facilities are very important. Just identifying the conflict is not important. How we will deal with it through proper training and facilities, support facilities. And this is very important because it helps to alter negative clashes into an environment of healthy conflict, because conflict has a healthy aspect too. So it is important to conduct something called as a revamp meeting, where this cloud of suspicion or doubt is cleared by reinforcing the mission statement, one, the rationale of the team, two, and the role of the team, because these are very important factors for a team to perform well. Another thing is that at times the expectations or the ground rules that are set may not be acceptable or maybe cloudy in their definition. So here again, they need to be revisited time and again to understand that each team member has a role in those ground rules. It's not like the ground rules are meant only for the managers or leaders and the team members have to just follow blindly. No, each and everybody is an equal and valuable resource on the team. And one of the most effective ways that can help everyone to reach compliance and a common level of agreement is to revisit the kickoff meeting, the first meeting which a team has, before the team starts functioning, the kickoff meeting. And the earlier this occurs, the lesser are the chances of, confrontation, or the degree of conflict is lower. The level of misunderstanding is lower. And it is necessity for all team managers and team leaders to lead by example. They need to show tolerance and patience and empathy and empathetic listening to all the team members, so that their team members can follow in their footsteps. And another thing is, sometimes you have this situation where the team member has a problem with the manager itself or the leader itself. So then what do you do? So in this case, the team manager or leader has to take the first step in terms of having a one-to-one session. And at the same time, the team manager or leader should also share the reason behind having this one-to-one session with the other team members, because sometimes this may lead to politics, undercurrents of political affiliation, which will again cause more conflict. So again, empathetic listening, active listening is very important. And each team member, manager or leader needs to get things out in the open. Before solving the conflict, all the dynamics have to be shared with the entire team, no matter who is involved in it. Maybe two stakeholders are involved or the entire team is involved. So, and also what happens is, when you clearly state the agenda of the conflict management process, and you seek buy-in from all the stakeholders, then nobody can, play the blame game later on. Everything is clear cut out in the open. So this is very important. And another aspect I've seen from my 3-year corporate journey is that when a team manager or team leader shares success stories or, conflict management strategies of past teams with the current team, then, the team is more likely to replicate those success stories or strategies. So this is a very important tip, which team managers or team leaders should share with their teams on a timely basis. And regular orientation and counseling is also very important from the higher ups, because what this ensures is that they help team members to understand that conflict is good. If it's looked at in a healthy manner, then it can help to generate more innovative ideas. It can help to ensure smooth transition from the current phase to the next phase of team growth. So these are some of the strategies that can be implemented. Of course, there are thousands of techniques and strategies, but these are some of the important ones that can be implemented by managers and leaders to ensure that their teams operate in a healthy conflict environment.
That's great. These are the important steps, and you are started with the meeting. Yes, it's an important thing. Many of them often miss that. They usually do that one-to-one without discussing with everyone. So that strategy is very important. And of course, again, the emotional intelligence plays a vital role here, starting with an empathetic listening and convey. See, these are the ways you make the conflict into a productive manner, and how it helps. Thank you, dear. You have explained a very good manner. You have any?
And you have summarized it very well. Yeah.
And do you have any tips to gain this skill.
Yes, absolutely. So now this, when you talk about acquiring or activating and nurturing this skill, it is applicable to both the team leader and team members. See, one thing we need to understand that the most important factor that leads to conflicts is barriers in communication channels. So once you develop that attribute of identifying which communication channels are failing and working on those communication channels through a communication strategy. Again, you can have a mission statement for communication strategy. You can have buy-in statements from the higher ups, and then that can flow down to the team members. Another strategy that needs to be followed for developing this skill is that you need to have at least 3 to 4 levels of conflict management in terms of informal meetings, wherein the team discusses the problem and tries to self-correct the problem without any executive intervention. The second is mediator level. In case the first strategy fails, then what happens is the manager or leader needs to step in between the stakeholders, conflicting parties. If this fails, then you need to have something called as formal discussion, where if the problem is not settled through mediation, then what happens is then the entire team comes out in the open together. They follow a certain strategy protocol and try to solve the problem. And the fourth one is escalation. If even a formal meeting fails, then escalation is very important. This has to be, designed in a very detailed manner, wherein the conflict needs to be handled by the senior executive level, team, and it needs to be handled depending on the escalation points which are defined in the escalation strategy, conflict management strategy. And one thing we need to remember that all these techniques have to be implemented in such a manner that they focus on cooperation, collaboration, and not competition, because then only then it will result into healthy conflict management and healthy resolutions. And even if it's a negative conflict, these levels will come in handy because they will help to minimize the negativity, and it will help to give equal credit to all the stakeholders involved, and will lead to long-lasting resolutions. And another thing that one needs to develop as a stakeholder in the corporate landscape is critical thinking. You need to ask critical questions about the situation. You need to assess and analyze the situation from an objective observer mode, and then only you can come to a conclusion, a definite conclusion and resolution. And then this will definitely help the team to move forward in the right direction and also improve their efficiency level at all levels in all aspects of team dynamics.
Yes.
So these are some of the tips that come to my mind when you ask me this question, because there are many more tips, but these are some of the main ones that can be implemented.
Yes, absolutely. This escalation process, I feel personally, people don't do that. They just discuss with themselves. If the problem's not finished in a positive, in a constructive way, definitely they stop doing this. This will lead to the internal politics. So escalation, according to the organizational organogram, obviously helps.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Because then what happens is everybody is equally responsible and accountable, because it's happening according to some strategy, and everybody's given the chance to share their inputs, and then the buy-in is taken from each stakeholder. So there's collective accountability, mutual responsibility. So nobody can play the blame game.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Do you have any final note to the audience? Any important note?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, it does not just apply to conflict management, it applies to all aspects of your personality. One needs to always have this can-do approach, a progressive focus. So even if one strategy fails for conflict management or any other process in the team dynamics, you can always have different ways of solving the problem, because if one aspect fails or one strategy fails, that means there's some better solution to the problem. You look at it in that fashion, and always involve everybody, because everybody comes with a diverse personality, unique baggage of skills, experiences, knowledge. So somebody may be good at communication, somebody may be good at documentation, somebody may be good at mediation. So if you get everybody on board, then you will definitely put up a brilliant corporate show.
Yes, that's a great thing. See, as being in a corporate individual, you have narrated a very well pattern. And this is a fantastic thing one should practice in their organization. That makes them as a leader.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are also a leader in your own unique right, because when people like yourself, kind people like yourself, encourage newcomers like myself, then that's how the chain reaction of blessings continues. Because then tomorrow I'll be encouraging somebody else. So because
Yes.
I'm being blessed by you, I'll pass on those blessings to somebody else. So this is how we build a chain of change creators or impact initiators.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear. Shall we finish the session?
Yes, thank you so much. I would
Yes.
like to
Prior
thank
to
you.
that, I wish to tell. See, Chitra had underwent one major surgery. I totally unaware of it. When I asked her for a podcast, she immediately said, "Okay." So, which shows you are a leader with a. Of course, we know you are professionally competent, and of course, you are an emotionally intelligent leader. Have such a resilient personality you are. Keep up your good work and keep spreading your peace through your poems and your writings. Thank you, Chitra. Thank you so much for being a guest in my podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I wish you all the very best. And I'm sure your podcast will grow by leaps and bounds. And you are doing a fantastic job because you're doing it from your heart hub. So it definitely will impact a lot of people along the way. And I also thank our combined networks for tuning in. God bless you all, and please stay safe in the current times of crisis. And we all will get through this together. We'll get through this, and we'll come out stronger and more confident.
Yes, of
Thank you
course,
so
of
much.
course. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you.
Thank you.